Seems like in the last decade or so, the term superstorm gets used a lot. I think Sandy in 2012 started this recent trend. But from where I sit, the original superstorm was the one 30 years ago this week, a well-predicted nor'easter that dumped 1 to 2 feet of snow on nearly the entire Commonwealth, something that's very unusual. Yes, it's been 3 decades since this also dubbed storm of the century formed in the Gulf of Mexico and rapidly intensified as it came up the coast, bringing the greatest expanse of heavy snow from a nor'easter since at least the late 1800s. Everywhere in white here got 10 inches or more, including parts of 20 states from Alabama to Maine. In western North Carolina, Mount Mitchell picked up 50 inches, nearby Mount LeConte in Tennessee, 56. But it was more than just big snows. In Florida, a squall line of severe thunderstorms along the storm's cold front spawned 11 tornadoes and caused widespread wind damage, while parts of the Florida West Coast were inundated by a hurricane-like storm surge of 9 to 12 feet. Washington, D.C. and Richmond, Virginia set all-time low-pressure records, while farther north winds gusted to 144 miles per hour on Mount Washington in New Hampshire. Here's a close-up of snowfall totals in and around Pennsylvania. Most of the white in Pennsylvania means 10 to 20 inches. The light purple shading is 20 to 30 inches, and red means more than 30. Seven Springs reported about 4 feet, the most in the state. Wellsboro got 37 inches, Lehighton 32, State College 28, Shippensburg 26, Pittsburgh, where I was living at the time, 25. All told, about half the state got 20 inches or more. Here's how it looked from space on the somewhat grainy, colorized infrared satellite imagery of that time. Tall clouds exploded over the western Gulf of Mexico on the morning of March 12th and spread east, while also expanding rapidly north. By the next day, the huge shield of cold cloud tops covered the entire eastern seaboard as the storm took on the classic comma shape of a powerful mid-latitude cyclone. Here's what was driving the storm aloft. The solid lines are pressure, around 20,000 feet. The red areas mark upper air disturbances. We call these vorticity maxima. They are associated with surface storm development. There were 3 separate ones the evening of March 12, 1993, over the Midwest, the Southern Plains, and northern Gulf of Mexico. 12 hours later, those disturbances had begun to merge or phase, creating one huge dip in the jet stream over the east, which by later that day had amplified further, complete with a closed upper low that ensured an historic surface low with minimum central pressure 28.35 inches of mercury, near the bottom of values on most home barometers. About 20 years ago, the National Weather Service developed a scale to rate northeast snowstorms based on snowfall and the size and population of the areas affected. By that metric, the March 1993 superstorm ranks number 1, going back to the late 1800s. A recap of the short-range forecast is next.